Let's call the committee of the whole meeting to order. Tuesday, October the 24th, 2006. It is now 5:44 p.m. Councilwoman Bell is present, Vice Mayor Lozner, Councilwoman Garner, and Councilman Porter. Item 2A is the approval of the October the 10th, 2006 minutes. The motion for approval.
I'll move them, Mayor.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell. Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Porter. Any questions on the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 2B is a discussion on selling the bowling alley property via auction.
Mr. Mayor and Council, basically, we acquired ownership and possession of the bowling alley and the surrounding property. We do want to dispose of that, and we want to make sure before we go into the auction mode that this is a mode that you're okay with. That we have material inside as well as the building and property that would be up for sale, and we feel that the auction. We haven't done an auction here, and not since I can remember, for property. We think this might be a good technique to use, but before we get the auction company involved and spending a lot of time, I wanted to make sure that this particular direction might be something that you're okay with for disposing of that property.
Any comments?
No, question, Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Obviously, I would think that the equipment may have some value. Have we looked at it, or are we going to look at disposing of the mechanical issues separate from the building? I think the real value there for someone who's going to come by is probably not as a bowling alley business, but as a site on US 1. I think that probably what's there is worth more than, hopefully worth more than just scrap. So if we do that, are we going to either prior to the auction try to dispose of the mechanical equipment, or reserve that for a period of time to move it after the sale?
Well, I think what we're going to do is try to do it on the same day with the auction. We have some members here from the auction company that we've been speaking with. I think we would move it on the same day. And I have no experience in the auctioning process, but the only thing that would be is somebody bought it as a bowling alley, actually, and I'm not sure that's going to happen in light of there hadn't been a lot of new bowling alleys around that much. But in the event that they purchased it as a bowling alley, wanted to maintain it as a bowling alley, then we may not do the equipment at that time. But right now, they would set up the auction, and probably wouldn't be until January sometime, where we'd have the equipment auction and the property auction at the same time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Ms. Bell?
From your standpoint, from your perspective, what would be the best desired outcome of an auction on that particular site? Do we have, as a city, as a council, as a manager's office, do we have an end goal in mind for that particular site? Are we going to do an auction not just specifically based on what the financial outcome is, but on what the desired effect is going to be following the financial outcome?
We have to put the whole package together, and I think as part of the package, if there's a certain type of development we don't want versus what we do want, can be put into the auction package, explaining what we're looking for. Now, we do have some representatives here that, if you would like to get a little more on that at this time, they're here, can answer those questions and others that you might have.
Well, I think if they're here, we might as well hear from them.
Okay.
While they're coming up, though, I mean, it has a zoning designation.
Right.
I understand.
And I think that if there's something within that classification that we would prefer not to see there, it's our property and our right to
reject that.
To redact that from permitted uses ahead of time, so that anybody that comes in would know that's a limited B2 or whatever it may be. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Lamar Fisher. That's LAMARFISHER, office 619 East Lane Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you for the opportunity. Bill, on your issue with the zoning issues, we can't obviously put together a package to provide to the potential bidders issues there as far as what the zoning. So the key is the buyers exactly know exactly what to do with the property, how they can develop it.
Very good. That's pretty much where I was headed. Thank you.
Any other comments to the board?
In your previous experiences with auctions, the more restrictions you add to a particular piece of property, does that generally devalue that property because you limit the ability for the end user to have the opportunity to do whatever, or within reason with whatever?
You're absolutely correct. Yes, sir. Anytime you limit the development of any site, no matter what it is, the price will affect that.
Okay. Obviously, everyone would know, I think the Vice Mayor said that there are current land uses attached to that piece of property. I know we've looked at this piece of property as a city hall to look at, and
yes,
obviously it has no zoning. It's a G zoning right now, so.
It's like community facility,
Sure. So that was the only thing. If we go forward with the auction process, obviously the more limitations we put on you as the auctioneer, the less likelihood of to maximize value. We may not get the maximum value of the property.
Correct, Mr. Porter. Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Now, we are allowed to put the minimum value on there as a requirement, aren't we?
You are correct, Mayor. The property would be sold subject to the final acceptance of price to the council.
Okay.
So we would obtain the highest and best offer, obtain the contract for the required deposit based on as-is, where-is condition of a sale, all-cash transaction, and we would bring it forward to you for your final ratification.
Okay, so we do have an opportunity to reject it if we're not
Yes,
pleased
sir.
with the offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other comments? Everyone is satisfied with that procedure? We don't want the manager to come back and someone is complaining. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? With a motion?
I'll make it. I'll make the motion if you want a motion.
You don't need a motion, right?
No, it's just discussion.
Okay.
Correction.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Item 2D is Landscape Code Ordinance, tab 3.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, it's staff's recommendation that council approve the attached ordinance. It updates the city's landscape code to be in accordance with the requirements of Dade County. The adoption of this landscape ordinance gives the city control of how we handle landscape in the city. And with this particular ordinance, the county has required us to adopt an ordinance. We could adopt theirs, or we could adopt a modified version. Ours follows theirs closely, but with some special improvements that are adapted to the Homestead scenario in it. So the P&Z approved it, well, once the council approves the concept, we'll go to P&Z before it comes back to council for ordinance reading. But they wanted to get this moving forward. The developers have reviewed it and have, we haven't had any problems. They've accepted it. Now, I don't know if, is there anything else, Cherie, that you might want to include there in the explanation?
A little more stringent, right?
Yes, Mayor. I'll make a couple comments.
Ms. Garner?
It follows the county very closely, and they've given their blessing on it, but there's two important sections that we've made stronger than the county, which is DBH, or diameter at base height. We want to measure the tree at 4 feet high for the requirement, rather than measuring it at 6 inches off the ground, because a tree 6 inches off the ground with a certain diameter will be a lot smaller at 4 feet. So having a thicker trunk is, of course, going to have a sturdier tree, and the purpose of a tree is to be able to withstand the wind and give us some shade. So, and the other thing was bracing, the way that we have the trees braced. So those are the two stricter portions that the city has put in. And staff has done a really good job working with the county on this.
I'll move the recommendation.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell. Is there a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Councilwoman Garner. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 2E, tab 4 is the Pancake Eastman Inc.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a renewal of our structural plans reviewer. It's a renewal of the contract. It's under the RFQ 2403, of which we pre-approved this particular contract among others. The amount is $45,000 in the budget, but it will be used as needed as they review structural.
I'll move the Mayor.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Porter, second by Councilman Bell. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Bell, Finance Committee.
Thank you. First item is bid 200617, the water tower painting. Mr. Manager.
Councilman Bell, Mayor and Council, it's recommended that award the bid to Utility Services Company for the painting of the Harrisville water tower. We have had the inspections done on the water tower as part of our preventative maintenance. The 2005 inspection recommended that the tower be recoated and repainted, which this covers. The budget amounts to $118,000. This year, we will probably see all 3 water towers. This is the first. It was supposed to go in last year, but got moved over into this time period. We'll see all 3 water towers this year to be painted.
I'll move the recommendation, Madam Chair.
It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
The comment?
And seconded. Councilwoman Gardner.
Thank you. As for the timing for this, I'm glad it didn't happen last year, but the things we're working on with the marketing committee, I don't want to paint them and have something that we may not... what are we planning on putting on them?
On the Harris Field is the racetrack logo.
Okay.
And they're paying for that. But the company, this includes putting the logo on there, but we'll be paid by the racetrack to put the new logo on from the old logo. And then the others are just straight.
Okay. I would like if we could have what's going to be painted go through the marketing committee.
The actual logo that's going on the...
what's planned to be painted to go through the committee?
Okay, let me see if I have this right. The only logo that's going to go on there is the current racetrack. That's it. No other logos on anything else. It's just painted white.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's only the Harrisville that's going to have the logo for the racetrack. At least at this time, we don't have any other logos.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would, you're right, you're absolutely correct, go through the marketing committee.
And I know $118,000 seems like a lot for painting a water tower, but it's very expensive. It's pressure cleaning, it's inside, it's out, it's the preparation, the treatment, then the painting, and then the decal. It's very, very extensive work, so it's well worth the money. I know when you first look at $118,000 to paint the water tower, it's like, wow, but it's very, very extensive. Well, it's been properly moved and seconded.
Madam Chair, may I ask one question?
Councilman Porter.
To follow up with Ms. Garner's comment, there may not be a huge value to the water tower in the neighborhood, the residential area, but there could possibly be a value to the one that's out by Contender, the Speedway, and all that other issue. So if there were an opportunity maybe to use that as a marketing tool, maybe that would be the way to go.
Well, we haven't talked about that in a while. We talked about that initially, and there wasn't interest at the time. But you know what we might be able to do is get some kind of a poster up there for rent, put on it for the race, space for rent.
Looks like a flashlight, maybe a big ever-ready flashlight. I'm just kidding.
Do they have a racing team?
They spend a lot of money marketing, but I think there could be, this one may be already taken by the Speedway, but the one out to the east is not necessarily taken. It might be an opportunity.
Potential.
It's a good idea.
I think that's something we should look into.
Thank you.
I think that's good.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is it coincidental of the bid of 118 and the budget of 118?
It's just that we're good.
They couldn't be that exact.
They thought a budget.
Actually, the budget for last year was 150 for this item, but since it's going to be a budget amendment on this year's, that's why we're going to use the actual price of the project, which is 118.
Okay. But you budgeted 150?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for being so observant, Mayor.
That's a mayor question.
All in favor say aye. And the ayes carry. And we also have, for year 2006-2007, vehicle purchases, tab 6.
Councilwoman Bell, Mayor and Council, what we have here is a partial contract for the lease of our capital fleet from the budget for this year. This includes 49 vehicles, this particular lease, and it's a little more than half of what we have scheduled for vehicles. This is $1,483,727 is the value, but we're leasing that over a 5-year period, so the payments are less.
Madam Chair, I'll move the recommendation.
Second.
I actually have a question. As I was looking through these, I really do, I try to look and scrutinize these and make sure that they're practical, and I just would like an explanation. I noticed item 10 is a Chevy Tahoe for wastewater collections, and then I see the police department, we have a Chevy Avalanche, and administration, we have a 2007 Durango. Is there a reason for these vehicles? A little higher price, a little higher end?
Well, yes, and I'll take those one at a time. The one in the Public Works area is assigned to a particular supervisor, is also a reserve officer, police officer. The other ones that are variety away from Ford, and show the variety, Durango, Tahoe, we have up until really recently have leased undercover cars, and that's becoming very expensive. The leasing of those go up, and the reason we did that is we change out the cars, so we don't have the same cars, following the same people at the same time, and they become known. So we're being able to change out these cars, and that's what when you see the SIU, that's for the undercover. So that's why we have a variety of cars listed there. The other item is some of these, we'll have the SUV type, and this also service us during hurricane time when the cars can't get, say, in times of some of the roads are flooded, we can't get the patrol cars down there. We can't get them to there, so we also double use these for times of emergency because they have the four-wheel drive and they're the higher vehicles.
Well, I know, I'm not trying to be overly critical about it, but I just, when you see a high-end like a Chevy Avalanche, there's a lot of heavy-duty pickup trucks that can do the same job, but that aren't an Avalanche. So I'm just kind of curious about that. Is it because it's administrative and we buy them a better standard of vehicle because they're administrative, they're take-home?
Actually, some of them are going to be work vehicles. For most of those that you see that have the difference between on the Fords, most of them you'll see the SIU.
Right, and I did kind of figure that those were. For that reason, I didn't even question you about those because I saw the SIU. The others are administrative.
And the administration usually
They use as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any other questions from council?
Madam Chair, I have one question.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I hope that it wasn't already asked. Why are we using the local dealers?
We're using a bid at the sheriff's bid. Well, there's 3 bids that we're going off of, and I'll read those as the Florida Sheriff's bid, the Florida Association of Counties, and the Florida Fire Chiefs. So we always go usually through some state bid.
They're cheaper.
Because that's where our lowest costs occur.
Okay.
It's a lot cheaper because we're working with another department's ability to buy large quantities, and so we're able to reduce the cost.
And the local people haven't been in, it's the bigger companies actually, I think, that have been involved in this. The local companies have not been involved in these bids for at the state level where they buy in this big bulk and we get the best price.
I didn't know. Thank you. Good question.
Good question.
Any other questions from council? The item's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes carry. Thank you, Mayor.
Item 4, Public Safety, Councilman Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 4A is tab 7, which is a grant resolution. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Porter, Mayor and Council, this is the burn grant. We recommend acceptance of the grant award. It's for $4,784, which is probably a third of what we received previous years. We're not sure why, but they had less money. They'll be used for the purchase of 20 cameras, and the camera bags that go with them.
Move the recommendation, Mr.
Moved
Chairman.
by the mayor, is there a second? Second by Ms. Garner. Any questions from council?
Just a comment, after doing the day with the police department and looking at all of the evidence and the documenting and the inventorying, they need the 20 cameras. It's just amazing, the quantity. So, absolutely.
Anything else? I would like to say that, obviously, if we didn't have this grant, we'd have to buy these 20 cameras by ourselves out of our own funds or forfeiture or some other issue. So any money that comes in the form of a grant is money saved. So
That's correct. Also, this is consecutive years that we've had this has been pretty good. We've gotten it for these many years.
all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Ayes carried. Thank you. Item number B, which is tab, is that 9, 8? 8. Another grant, drug-free communities. Mr. Manager?
Mr. Porter, Mayor and Council, this is the Drug-Free Communities Grant. We recommend the acceptance of this grant. It's a $100,000 award from the Department of Justice for drug prevention funding. We put this grant in, and we've received this several years as well. But we partner with several local prevention programs on drug prevention. There is a $100,000 match that you have to put with this, but we meet our match through normal supervision and facilities that we have that house the functions.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell.
Second.
Second by Ms. Garner. Any discussion, any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries as well. And last item, nope, he added one. Item C, which is tab 9, Mr. Manager, mutual aid agreement.
Yes.
You could take these together if you wanted to.
You got
C and D.
Okay.
Move the recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Moved by the Mayor, second by Ms. Wallman. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mayor. That's all of our business.
On the Utility Committee, 5A is a discussion of expediting fees for utility customers.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, Mark Cooper-Smith has a response on this and explanation. Mark, you want to...
Mr. Mayor, members of council, since customer service was assigned under the General Services Department earlier this year, we've tried to make a number of changes, mostly technology-based changes, to try to improve the customer service that we're getting. One of the things that's become very apparent in the interim is that our customer service clerks are spending an inordinate amount of time on the phone, fulfilling information and taking payments in particular. That takes a lot of time. We've implemented the ability to do this via our voice response system and also via our website. What we're looking to do is we're trying to wean our customer base off of that direct customer contact for the everyday type of information that's readily available and for the transactions that are readily available. Most organizations that have had this problem have done it by using an expediting fee, which is basically if somebody insists on talking to a customer service rep rather than using the automated system, they are charged an expediting fee to have it done. We feel we need to do this. Right now, and this is an approximation, but it looks to me like we're spending the equivalent of 1 to 1.5 people in terms of doing telephone business, taking payments. And in order to maintain this level of service, we've got to get the people off of this or hire that person, hire staff, and we don't want to be there. So what we're bringing forward is a recommendation to implement this expediting fee in order to go ahead and fund, if necessary, the bodies to keep this transaction going.
Question, Mayor.
Ms. Bell and then Mr. Porter.
On the recommendation, my understanding was that the expediting fee is only for payments, for on the phone payments, not for speaking to a customer service representative for any problems or issues, but specifically for payments only.
Exactly.
Okay, because I'd be very, very hesitant to expand that in anything other than that. Are you still going to keep the drive-through window open?
Yes.
Okay, because I think that's very important. A lot of people here, that's, a lot of traffic that way.
One of the we have a lot of traffic there. One of the things we're trying to do, as we look for ways of, it's always easier to add people to meet your problem. We're trying to add technology to reduce people power that is very expensive. And, as we try to look for how to do things smarter as we go through here, it's very hard to get the customer base to switch over. They're used to that personalized service, and many of the companies have gone to where you do the phone, call in, pay over the web. We got a check cashing store you can pay at.
It's free.
Banks, we're setting those up lock boxes for people to pay so that we can cut down that window and the people that we need to service that window, the number of people we need. We're trying to work our way toward using technology. Many people who call over there, and this is what this feel for, will want their balance. Something like that. And if they insist on talking to someone for a balance, they're going to have to pay the fee.
So they can push a button and find their balance.
And find their balance right there. So I mean, it's just a transitioning of how we do business. If you want that level of service, well, we're increasing with the numbers. We're going to have to hire people, and when we hire people, it's more money. So we're trying to, balance that out.
One more question. Approximately how much would the expediting fee be?
Well, that's the issue at hand right now. What we've done is, in places we've queried, the rate that we've seen have gone anywhere from $8 up to $15. And I'm looking for direction on what council would feel would be a viable number to put in place. And then we'd have to go along for a period of time and find out if that number would indeed fund the manpower to go ahead and do it.
I wouldn't be comfortable with anywhere close to $8 to $15 to talk to somebody on the phone. I think that's very steep. I mean, I know that if I call, let's just say American Airlines, I can book online and it's free, and I book on the phone and it's $10. But that's booking a flight, going through a long, arduous process. I thought you were going to say something like $3 to $5. I mean, I'm a little surprised. I think we need to be very cautious as a council. I mean, there are probably a lot of people who are very unsure of handling the phone on their own, or a lot of them don't have access to the internet. So I think we need to be sensitive to that. I understand that we want to free up, and I understand what's happening over there. But I think we need to be very sensitive to that. I'm going to go along with the expediting fee because it's specifically for handling payments only, and they can certainly go to the drive-through, go on the internet, and pay automatically, so I'll handle that. But I would not be in favor of anything close to $8. That's just speaking for myself.
Ms. Bell, we did an analysis on the average payment. The average utility payment right now is running just a bit over $250 a month. That's average. We feel that we would probably be well-served with a 2%, which would be a $5 fee.
Okay.
Certainly as a starting point, and then we'd analyze it further on into the future.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor. Oh, no, Mr. Porter. And then Mr. Vice Mayor.
I got a couple of stupid questions. For someone to call and pay over the phone, what are they doing over the phone with a clerk that has to be done? I mean, are they telling them a credit card number?
Exactly.
So they just don't want to use any other means to process that credit card number?
Well, at this point, we're just starting the ability to take the credit card payment over the phone. We've had the ability to do it over the internet, but this is the startup of the ability to use the telephone to do it as well, which gives a lot of options.
The other thing, you mentioned that, in the recommendation it talks about the expediting fee for whoever calls in to make a payment, but then you talk a little bit further on about calling in for balances or something like that, also having an expediting fee on that. Is it both?
No, I'm sorry if that's misunderstood. The fee is strictly for the payment process.
Okay.
What we've done is we have our customer service representatives right now. When people call in to do simple inquiries, and I don't mean any kind of dialogue about I'm having problems with my account or I'm having problems with meter readings, but somebody who just wants to know what is my balance and what is my consumption, they're forwarding that person directly to the IVR system, which will answer their questions.
So basically, you're just talking about anybody that calls and says, I want to give somebody my credit card in order for them to run this via a person rather than another system.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor, and Ms. Walden, and then Mr. Shahada.
Well, I think Mr. Coopersmith clarified it, that what the fee would be for would be to actually taking a payment, either check by phone in person or credit card by phone in person. I guess arriving at the fee of, have we done some analysis on what the hourly wage is, that, what it's costing us per hour to have that center open and how long it takes to process that? I know I've seen a lot of these vary, very widely, from $3 to $5 to $15 for all those things, depending on where you're dealing.
One of the things that makes it very difficult to do that analysis is going back and trying to figure out where the payments come from in retrospect. Right now, if we look at a month's worth of collections, we're not sure what has come in via credit card, via the internet, in person, or over the phone. So we're using this as a starting point based on the time we're seeing. The other issue we have as well is at various times of the month, we're buried with phone calls, and at other times, it's relatively quiet. So I don't have that precise quantification on this, sir.
And again, one more question. Speaking of the internet, obviously we all know that it's very expensive to have bodies there opening the envelopes and handling checks by mail or over the phone or by credit card by phone. At some point, are we going to look at, is it cost effective to provide discounts for internet payment rather than pay the person to open the envelope with my check in it every month? Still make money and not have the employee issues that are implicit in a large workforce? Are we to that point?
At this point, we're not. There's certainly no reason we can't do that. It's a council wishes to go ahead and create that incentive. We would have no problem in doing that.
Well, I hope we can look at it sometime in the future as the internet gets up, and I know it's fairly new, I guess, to be able to do that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Vice Mayor. Ms. Wallman?
Yes. Mark, I don't know if you remember, but it's been about 4 years ago or so. I know maybe Mike Shahada and Marlene and Kurt might remember, but I talked about perhaps stopping the drive-through window and doing what Kurt had just said, having the check cashing places or various different places to pay your bill. And the reason that I had asked you about that back those many years ago was that I know Fort Upon Light stopped. They closed all of their pay where you go to the store and pay, or not the store, but you went to the FP&L out center, whatever it's called, and you would pay the bill. And they saved, I think it was like millions of dollars, wasn't it? Do you recall? It was a lot of money. A lot of money. And at the time I was told that because of our culture here in our city, that they use the drive-through and people, they become used to things. So we kept, we didn't discuss it any further. We didn't talk about it any further. But when I first read this, I was completely against it, because I know how people are. I know how I am. I like to talk to somebody, if I have a problem. But I did some research on my own accounts today, and I know my mortgage company, if I call and want to talk to somebody, I think it's $15. And then, if I want to make a payment using a live person, my car payment, I think, was $3. It was low. That one was low. But even American Express does charge, if you want to talk to a live person. But at the same time, it goes back to that drive-through window. I've had phone calls this week because we've changed the configuration around a little bit. I had one lady call me and say she couldn't find the front door. So we were always going to have those. I swear to God, I swear.
They moved the front door?
Couldn't find the front door of the utility department.
I don't think we have a front door.
but couldn't find the entrance of the utility department. But with all that being said, I would like for us to look into the cost factor of that drive-through. Because if we are moving into the 21st century and we are, starting to do online payments, and if you can have contracts with some of these check cashing stores that people can go and pay their payment. You know, I mean, I think that might be something that feasibly, to save money, we should at least look into it. At least look into it. And also, if this does pass tonight, are you going to give them like a fair warning in a utility bill, you know, saying, you know, something little statement?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Shahada?
Mr. Mayor, council members, I think I forgot what I was going to say. No, I remember. I'm just kidding. Actually, Mark mentioned something about the telephone system we added, and this phone system is really like a voice response system. It's not to just talk to a live person. So practically, everything they could do on the internet, they could do with the phone system, similar to the one we have for permitting and planning and zoning. And the check cashing, Ms. Baldwin, we have these with check cashing stores.
How long have you had that?
We have it for what, Mark?
The current one has been in place about 3 months. We are currently looking at negotiating with the ability to do our payment collection via Western Union. That seems to be the engine that a lot of large companies use. If we're able to secure this deal, we'll be able to take payments at Publix, Winn-Dixie, Kmart, and other places as well.
And we are actively looking at other ways. We will be coming to you with like a presentation, like a workshop with other improvements to customer service. And I do recall the conversation we had with your procurement, definitely.
And it was a lot of money. It was unbelievable. And pay online, you know, that's something that we have to.
I have a little hesitation based on timing of this request. I'm not comfortable with the fact that we have done enough marketing of the alternatives and locations for payment. The cash places, what banks are accessible, and any other configuration that you guys may have. I'm not comfortable that the public really know that they have all these options. And I think Mark mentioned 3 months with the check cashing areas. How well do we disseminate this information to the public so they know that there are multiple alternatives to payment other than making the phone call and paying over the telephone?
Mr. Mayor, starting 3 months ago, actually 30 days before we implemented the check cashing, we had flyers printed up that are given out to everybody who passes through, showing the alternate ways to pay, the internet, the check cashing store, and we will continue to do that. We're also going to be doing updates with flyers stuffed into the bills as they go out. So we are actively marketing the alternatives as places to pay.
I would suggest that we look at delaying this for another 3 months and go through a marketing process again. And you just said that we are now just able to use the credit cards, and we're going to get that out. Why not another 3 months of disseminating that information to the public before we go into the fee charge? Is there a problem with that?
No, we can do that, Mayor.
That would be my suggestion, that let's educate the public on all these multiple alternatives. And I agree with Councilwoman Wallman, at some point in the next 3 months, you may want to look at closing that drive-through once you go through this marketing process, and you will save money.
Mayor.
Ms. Bell, but I do think we need to give the public a little more time to get adjusted to these changes. Ms. Bell?
Well, I'm one of those people that use the drive-through. It is so convenient. It's always busy. I have to tell you, I don't know why we would want to shut down anything that brings in the money that people, it's so convenient. I'm coming right here, just drive through, drop off my payment in the box, just drop in the box. I mean, and so many people are using it. There's always at least 4 or 5 cars, and they're paying their bill.
Now, are you saying the drop box there? I mean, that'll remain. It's actually going to the person at the window.
I know. I mean, I use the drop box. I don't ever wait in the line. I'm not a good line person. I always do the drop box. But, I mean, I don't know. I just think we really need to evaluate that, because there's so many people that really depend upon that to pay their bill, and I don't know that, I think we just need to be careful. I don't know that we want to shut anything that people pay. You know, my mother used to always say, they should always make you to wait in a restaurant to eat, but never make you wait to pay. You ever wait 15 or 20 minutes for your bill? I just think it's the same principle. You don't want to shut down something where people are coming and paying. So I think that we need to really be careful with that. I mean, it's always, people are coming and they're paying, and they might be at the last minute. You know, it probably is last minute, but I just think we need to be careful about shutting that down. I'm going to be the last holdout on that one.
Mayor? This poor girl, she's been trying to...
Ms. Garner?
Thank you. I understand the goal, but I really can't agree with the way that we're going about it. And I agree with the mayor that we really should be doing more, whatever we can to market it. It just feels like it's a negative reinforcement. Kind of reminds me of that commercial, the bank commercial, where they swipe the person's forehead. Like, we're going to charge you because you're talking to us. It just, you know, the city isn't like that. We're accessible. This seems so negative to me. And I like Mr. Losner's idea of some positive reinforcement. Okay, well, it's cheap for us to do it online or over the voice system. We'll give you $1 off, or, you know, some little thing off that's just going to incent that person to do that. And I agree with the mayor, and I really I could not support charging someone $8 to pay a bill. To me, that's ridiculous.
Mayor, do we have a marketing agency that works with us? Don't we have a marketing agency right now? Maybe this would be a good opportunity to see what they're made out of, you know, see what we can actually get going here, because a lot of interesting conversation, you know, from this, because
I really think if Mark is able, if we're able to get the Western Union side of it, you know, in the Publix and with Dixie, and I mean, no one should have an excuse they can't pay their bill. I mean, we just have, and they got the drop box too. So I mean, I just don't see a lady sitting there at the window accepting a check and there's a drop box there, or Walmart is there, Publix is there, the local banks involved, the ones that may get involved. It's just too many options to be available. But we just need to market that information and get it out there in the public.
Yeah, I think the problem would solve itself if we let everybody know what's coming, what we have, incent them to do things like that.
Mr. Mayor, Ms. Garner, what I'd like to recommend is that we're coming up on the November billing cycle that starts with our partner now that does our billing, stuffing, and mailing. We have the ability to stuff any number of items into the utility bill that goes out. I would recommend a 60-day period. That's 2 billing cycles that we could actually include in the mailers. All the information you're talking about, to discern it out there. We'll also hand it out and possibly target January 1st for a startup date for this program. That would also take us past the holiday season.
I don't think we should charge. That's just my personal opinion. I think eventually, with all the options that we're going to have coming soon, that, you know, it may be bad now, but with what's coming and letting people know continually, and you get it at Publix and Western Union and everywhere else, that so many options. I think it will be less and less of a problem as we continue to give them other avenues.
If I could say something about the charge, I think a lot of it's not to make revenue so much as to discourage people from using resources that, you know, costing more money. And Mark, I don't know if this is a correct statement, but I think we talked about it. It's about 30% of the customers that are driving this for 60% of, you know, 70% of the other customers on this expense. But I agree with all the marketing and everything, but it's also designed that if we have all these other options, then why would I pay any extra money when I can go here or I can go on the internet and get $1 off? And so at some point where we discourage them or from even, if it's there and it's easy to use, why will I go to the trouble? You know, it's just easy, let me do it. That's why we have the window. Remember, we had that debate a number of times on the window. So which has to be manned, different hours, and it's all expensive.
If I might, there's also a customer service aspect to this. Right now, there's 4 cashiers available at customer service. At the busy times of the month, those 4 cashiers are handling walk-up customers, 2 lanes of drive-through customers, and all the telephone payment customers coming in as well. There's many times that these people trying to pay on the phone are left holding for a great period of time or have to go through a callback scenario. Through the automated system, it can literally handle, I believe it's 24 or 30 simultaneous payments coming in. So there's a customer service advantage to going to this as well.
No, I agree with you. I just think we need to just market those options more. And maybe in January you come back with the recommended fee, and hopefully the Vice Mayor's suggestion that we give a discount on the ones that say do it over the internet, and bring back those recommendations as the first of the year, and we'll look at it. Any other comments? Mr. Vice Mayor?
Since we've gotten up and running with the check cashing store accepting payments, have we seen a measurable and significant decrease in the traffic over at the window?
In all honesty, it's been very, very slow. Very slow starting. I think we've had our busiest week last week, and I believe it was 70 payments were processed.
Well, and you really got my interest when you talked about the Western Union system payment plan. And I'm sitting here thinking if we could get into Publix and Winn-Dixie, and probably you would see a huge impact in Sedano's, the Diaz markets, Allen's market, that you may be coming to us a year from now saying we don't have the business at the window to justify keeping the window open. And I think really that's the ultimate goal. And if we could get into these local markets that serve the segment of our customers who come in person to pay, who mostly don't even have checking accounts, who are bringing the cash to the window, if they can do that at one of the grocery stores, it'll solve its own problem. So I would suggest that we hold off if we can get that Western Union system and get into the other local establishments where people can go to pay their bills. Let's do that before we, and then it's a tool to discourage it, that it makes you go somewhere else. And when we have all of those options in place, then let's put the charge in place. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Vice Mayor. Any other comments?
Well, I just wanted to just ask Mike, Shahada, if you could, just curiosity now, just to find out how much money that FPNL saved by closing those windows, because I remember they had a certain figure that they had saved by doing that. But I love the idea of the grocery stores. I think it's a fabulous idea. And I'm sitting here thinking about, and my mom gets so mad when I use her as an example, but I'm thinking about my mother. She would rather go in person and pay a bill to this day. She loves to go and pay a bill because she likes that contact. She likes to, how are you? And she has her errand days. She and her girlfriends, and they go and pay their bills if they can. So. How it is. I think maybe at the Senior Citizen Center you might want to come over and do a little talk one of their lunches and explain it to them as well. Just like Amanda said, marketing and public information.
Put a payment window over there.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll look to hear back from you guys. That ends the committee of the whole. Any business, Ms. Bell?
No, sir.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Just for informational purposes, based upon some meetings today with the City Hall team of architects, we have scheduled tentatively a presentation to council on Tuesday, November 28th, following the committee of the whole meeting the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, with an anticipated public presentation on December 12th. The public... We sent them back to the drawing board one more time to do some fine tuning, and I'm very excited about what the look and feel of what we're going to be bringing forward. So I just wanted to put those dates out there as something that's coming soon. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Vice Mayor. Ms. Waldman?
Trunk or treat Sunday, and the Little Angels Halloween party Friday night, if I live that long. And the Rotary Spaghetti dinner early Friday night, too. So.
Thank you. Ms. Garner?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, I'm going to need your assistance. I've had numerous calls and complaints about the blasting that's been going on, and actually I've felt some of it myself. I know, we did this 2 years ago. The state fire marshal came down and sent his staff, and we sat there and they just gave me a brochure. They handed me a brochure. But the Keysgate Management Office is being inundated by calls. I'm hearing it. It's excessive, and people are receiving damage, and it's like you have to be psychic and know, take a picture today and it's going to blast tomorrow, and you have to take a picture tomorrow so you can show and prove that it was at that time that it happened, and then all the onus is on you. I don't know who we can reach out to, on what level.
I would say, unfortunately, we don't, and just for the public that's here tonight, we don't have any control over that anymore. The county doesn't have control over it. It's all state.
I know it's a state level, but who...
And we tried to get some legislation where they at least, they weren't even notifying us before that if just across our jurisdiction, if it wasn't there, that there would be blasting, and that's how we got into this thing. And we seemed to set a hornet's nest off when we tried to get legislation on that, to the fact that they called the local blaster down here, or the person blasting, and saying, call the city. And they do, but it doesn't solve the vibration problems. Their vibration level is a lot more than ours. So just think about that. When we had the blast, theirs is, I think, they've gone up to a 0.5, ours 0.15, the vibration. So there's really, at this point, absolutely nothing the city can do. What we should do is refer them to the state fire marshal. We'll get a number for the state fire marshal.
I've given them a phone number.
It's not a real satisfactory answer for our citizens, but it's kind of where it's at. Mike, you had a comment.
Mr. Mayor, council members, Steve Teresi Jr. called me last week, I think, or the week before. Actually, I discussed it with his consultant that there's blasting and we're receiving complaints in the city. So he brought it to his attention, and he called last week saying they reduced the amount of charge.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
My house shook.
My perfume bottles this morning were, and I happened to be sleeping in front of my dresser. I swear to you, I mean, it's horrible. At the same time, every day.
I believe you, and I think we will bring it back to his attention, even though, like Kurt said, we're not really in the middle of it, but we will just tell him it's not working, whatever they are doing.
Is there something that the residents can do? Can they start a petition to send to the state fire marshal? Is that effective at all? They want to do something. They want action, because when you call the fire marshal, they tell you that you have to go to the Division of Administrative Hearings and request a hearing, and you have to pay for it all yourself, and it's just...
Yeah. And no guarantee you'll get anything for your damages.
Oh, no.
Chances of proving that are going to be slim.
And they don't know when they'll get back to you. They'll give you a ticket number, and it's...
Well, I think the only thing I think they could do is write their state legislator. I think that, that's a problem. I don't know what else that we could do there. Like I said, I think Mr. Porter and I were up there and going through that, so Mr. Porter knows what we were told, and we can talk to Bob Levy again as well. He could help, but right now, as it stands, we're very limited in what we're going to be able to do.
Everyone just feels helpless, though. I mean,
yeah.
And then they have to pay for it. They have real damage to their house, and they have to pay the deductible, and it just seems like
there's some reason it left the county. I mean, there's some
political reasons it left the county and the local control to go to a statewide level, and that's where we ran into all the questions and a lot of basically closed doors when it came to talking about the issue. And we really, at the point that we were trying to get was not really to stop anything. We were just trying to be able to be notified. As a city, we sit between the nuclear power plant and an Air Force base. And when the earth starts shaking, the community would like to know that it's not a nuclear fallout or a bomb being dropped. But it's a politically charged question. I think the solution is not really at the fire marshals. I think it's really politically motivated with your legislature. That's how I perceive it, because the legislature really didn't want to talk to us much about it. They didn't want to touch it. It was very, very sensitive. So good luck.
Well, maybe if all the Keysgate residents, we get together a letter or a postcard campaign and just flood their offices maybe they'll at least listen.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Porter?
No, thank you, Mayor, nothing, no business.
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor and Council, I have a letter here from the Military Affairs Committee, from Jim Pierce, the parade chairman, requesting the City Council's permission, annual permission, for the parade that will begin noon Saturday, November 11th, and we have to have official...
Move the recommendation.
Properly moved by Mr. Porter, second by Councilwoman Bell. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
What day will the city observe the holiday?
Is it Friday? I think it's a Friday, isn't it?
10th.
One more thing, don't forget Speed Fest, the concert that afternoon of the parade.
Yeah,
That's going to be at the baseball stadium. 3 country western groups, Trick Pony, Jason Thomas, and Confederate Railroad, right? So 3 groups, and it's a $25 charge. Right, Marlene, or is it 15? 25? 25, I think. I think it's $25 charge, and then there's a $50 VIP seating if you want VIP seating. And that's to benefit Main Street and the pediatrics.
Mr. Weiss?
No report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for coming. Meeting is adjourned.